Hello and welcome to the latest video blog for HeavyHops.com. It's been a fantastic sunny day in Paris here today, and I also personally got some really good news. So I thought it was maybe a day to bring out the big guns, a day to bring out beer that's maybe not your everyday sort of beer, maybe not very easy to get a hold of. So the first one that I thought of that's been staring at me from my collection for a while was this. Now, those more observant of you will realise that this is a pretty rare beer. Those not so will think it's just a lazy brewer who forgot to put a label on it. In actual fact, not true. This, if you can see from the top there, is Trappist Westy 12. It's a beer that, in my opinion, is probably overhyped, but because I've only ever had number 8 and I've never had number 12, I thought I would give this a go. Now, when I said this to a friend of mine who runs a beer shop in Paris, he automatically said, well, why don't you do it with tasting some other beers as well alongside? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to taste the Westy 12 first, because quite frankly the beers I'm going to be tasting tonight are big brutes of beers, so I kind of want to remember the most rare and the most hard to get one first. Then I'm going to move on to this, which is another personal favourite of mine, and many people say is the closest clone, if you like, to Westy 12, and that's Rochefort and Bernardus 12. Then, whilst hopefully still having some of the Westy 12 in my glass, I am eventually going to move on to Trappist Rochefort 10, which again is a very similar style. That's why I've chosen these three beers. They're all kind of around about the 10, 11, 12% mark. They're all pretty similar style, quad style beers. I'm going to record this video in 3 parts. Join me in part 1 when I will be opening this bad boy here. I'll be opening Westy 12. Okay, so here we go with Westy 12. As I said in the introduction, this is a beer I've wanted to taste for a long time. It's widely regarded on beeradvocate.com and ratebeer.com as certainly one of the best beers in the world, if not the best beer in the world. Now, I have previously discussed in a blog post that I do not believe that there is even such a thing as the best beer in the world, because I personally don't think that you can compare certain styles of beer with other styles of beer. I don't think it's fair to compare Lambic, for example, with a Trappist beer like this. However, I might be surprised. Maybe by the end of this video, and by the end of tasting these 3 beers, maybe I will think it's the best beer in the world. That came off with a bit of a fizz, and I'm going to keep that cap, I have to say. I know it's pretty stereotypical of the Westy drinker, but I'm going to have to keep that cap. So we're going to put it into my wonderful new Anasteki glass, which was kindly given to me by Simon at Le Caraboule in Paris. So let's start with the tickle in the glass there. As you can see, it's pretty dark, exactly as I expected it to be. Lovely, muddy, chocolatey brown colour. Wonderful head as well. Really quite a thick, inviting head on that. Okay, different nose than I was expecting. Much more bready than I was expecting. I was expecting maybe a little bit more vanilla, a little bit more kind of roasty toastiness, but not so much. A little bit more kind of yeah, bready, yeasty, definite, like French bread, like brioche sort of. Yeah, definite, like, yeah, maybe not brioche. Definite breadiness though. There's something, I don't know if it's quite brioche or maybe kind of like baguette style bread. Let's give it a go anyway. Let's stop talking about bread. The first thing I want to say when I taste that beer is it's not the best beer in the world. Not by a long shot. And it's certainly not the best beer I've ever tasted. It is fantastically made. Quite a round beer. Lots of quite nice flavours going on in there. But honestly, I hate to say this. I have kind of built it up in my mind a little bit about what this beer is going to be. If I'm honest, that's not it. That's not what I imagined. It's very good, don't get me wrong, it's extremely good. I'm really interested now to compare it to St Bernardus 12 because I love St Bernardus. And at the moment, from my memory of what St Bernardus is like, I prefer St Bernardus to this. Yeah, so join me, I'm gonna think about this beer now. Join me in part 2 when I will be comparing this beer, which is the best beer in the world, to St Bernardus 12. Cheers. So, welcome back. As you saw in the first part of the video, tonight I am drinking Rochefort and 12. It's had time to warm up a little bit in the glass. It's had time to mature's not the word, but it's had time to open up a little bit. It is phenomenal. I'm not contesting the fact that this beer is phenomenal. It's so well made. But what I want to do now is I want to contrast it with another beer, which is in a kind of similar style, and that is St Bernardus 12, which up until the point where I actually found a bottle of Rochefort and 12 to drink, basically people said to me, well, if you can't get Rochefort, buy this, because it's the closest closest beer to Rochefort. So I'm going to pour this now, and I'm kind of going to compare the two of them. Now initially my eyes say that they are the same beer. They're almost, yeah, apart from the fact that this one's a fresh pour and it's got a pretty good head in it and this one's been sitting for a while, they're pretty identical in colour. The head quality was about the same on this one when I poured it. Okay, already there are huge differences. This is more bready. The Rochefort is much more bready. Whereas this is more vanilla-y, more traditionally Belgian yeasty sort of smells. More in the vanilla, rum, rounded flavours, whereas that, as I say, is slightly more bready. So I'm going to give this one a last bash, and then we'll move on to this. So now it's warmed up a little bit, I'm starting to get some of the alcohol, some of the warming, some of the rummy sort of flavours as well, but that doesn't come through in the nose in that beer, whereas it does, very, very much so, in the St Bernardus. So, already, as I say, the nose is completely different. As kind of is the taste. The tastes of the two beers are much more similar than the noses are. There's a much bigger difference in the nose than there is in the actual taste. It pains me to say it because I want to say the cheaper, more readily available one is better. But if I'm honest, if I'm really, really honest, the Rochefort is better. And I didn't think that in the first part of this video. When I opened this and just had this on its own, I wasn't convinced that it was all that good. But now I've tried it in comparison with a beer that I know I like and like a lot, and I still prefer this one. That worries me slightly. This is fantastic. St Bernardus 12, and in fact the whole St Bernardus family are fantastically made beers. And they are quite readily available. I think you can buy them on beermerchants.com, beersofeurope.com as well, as far as I know. So, to conclude part 2 of this tasting, so far, Westy is still the winner. But we still have one more beer, which is going to face up against the two of these, I guess. And that is Trappist Rochefort 10. So join me in part 3 when I will put 3 big quads against each other, and we'll see if Westy is still the winner. Cheers.